Welcome to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go, a look at modern and retro games with a dark sense of humor. Introducing your hosts, Steve.
Well, I'm a wreck now.
Harry.
Put it in my mouth.
Clark.
That man had one testicle and hit home runs, goddammit.
And Joe.
This went off the rails very quickly.
Let's start the show.
Welcome back to another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast. Go! We are in for a trek tonight. You'll figure it out. But before that,
Yo.
But first, word from our sponsor, Deep Creek Glassworks.
Deep Creek Glassworks.
Hey, you want some cool shit made out of glass? Deep Creek Glassworks has you covered. We are in peak season of trade shows and craft shows, craft vendoring. Go check out Deep Creek Glassworks, spelled WORX.com, to find out where they will be in your local area if you're in the Pennsylvania region.
Today. Whoops.
Yeah. So soon. But if you're not in PA, and if you can't check them out today, then check out deepcreekglassworks.com, WORX, and you can check out their Instagram, Etsy. Do you want some glasses? Cool. Do you want some straws? Cool. You want some ornaments? They got that too.
Do you want to build a snowman? Tanner might do that in the wintertime with you.
He may.
He might have glass snowmen available in the wintertime.
That may be possible. Do you want snowmen before Christmas comes around? Reach out to him. He may have you covered. And on that, if you want to be covered, you can use
a blanket.
That's one. Great job, Harry. We use blankets when we're cold.
Harry's understanding it.
Today.
Otherwise,
water, Harry, water.
But if you want to go see what they have available, check out their Instagram, Etsy, deepcreekglassworks.com, and use our code SUPERFUN to get 10% off your first purchase. And if you purchase anything, they will be shipped to you in crush-resistant boxes, and that shipping is free. Free shipping today. So yeah,
And tomorrow.
or
And the next day.
whenever you order, it's free shipping. Just order stuff and be awesome like we are, and free shipping today. Perfect.
Today.
Tomorrow. Fuck!
You fucked it up. Tonight we are discussing a newer game, full black and white, kind of like a Trek back, but would Yomi do me the favors of giving me some
Introductions, Steve.
introductions? Oh, I know. So I was leaning in. So
He's doing plays on words.
I was trying, but we'll just get into it. To my right, Harry.
I played this game like I watch my anime with the English dubs on. Come at me, bro.
Wait, there's an English dub for this?
Oh, yeah,
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
To my forward right, Clark.
I'm still baffled. Hold on. I gotta regain composure. The great poet David Fenton said it best. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so.
Jesus Christ.
The fuck am I doing over here?
To my
Was
front.
that yours?
No.
Oh, okay.
That would be wild.
That would be wild. It would be. To my front left, Joe.
Front left. I like it.
Front butt.
I must know my path before I take it.
Oh, good job.
Oh, look at Joe actually quoting the game.
My bad.
And I am your host, Steve. Honor is a crutch for the weak and fearful. So tonight, we are reviewing Trek To Yomi. So a little bit more of a recent game, but we're doing what we can. Let's hop into some initial impressions. Clark, go ahead.
I was really excited when I saw it on the State of Play. I thought it looked really stylized, and I thought it was going to be very, very interesting.
All right, Harry's going to need a
That's
minute.
my initial impressions.
All right, Joe.
I didn't know this was a game until you pitched it. And then I looked. I didn't. And
That's fair. He could have just left it right there.
Impressions ever.
Like, oh, fucking Steve's drunk again. What's he talking about? Oh, it's a real thing. Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair. Harry.
Pretty similar to what Joe said. I didn't know this was a game until you pitched it. I looked up some screenshots before playing, and what was appealing right from the get-go was the art style of this game.
Nice. And I shared the same story as Clark, where I saw this on the State of Play. It looked like a lot of fun, something a little different. So I put it on my queue for the podcast, and here we are today.
We did a little
Today.
segment about that on the Triple L stream, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
we definitely did. I made sure to cover that a little bit
Yeah.
in my news segment. Oh, by the way, everyone, second Wednesday of every month, go check myself and Clark out on Lags, Libations, and Lost Saves. Streaming on YouTube. You can check out the Facebook and check out Facebook. It's there. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Check out our Patreon at patreon.com/superfunpodcast.
Yes, our
$1 a
Patreon.
month.
Our Patreon is at $1 a month. Please.
I like
don't-
sneaking ads in mid-episode.
Hey, you know what? At the same time, it's like we haven't really said much. It's $1 a month. If you have something to give as a donation, it goes towards keeping the podcast afloat. You know, we put that towards
Because
our.
we're sinking fast.
I mean, this is a.
We've been at it
labor.
for 7 years. 7 years.
I'm tired, boss.
I'm tired, boss.
But there's a monthly upkeep, so we don't really push for anything. But if you would like to donate, we would definitely appreciate it, because every dollar you put to us goes right back into the podcast. We are a non-profit podcast.
Yeah.
7 years strong.
7 years strong. We have not turned a profit once.
But we know sometimes it's times are still hard, so we appreciate.
So is my wiener.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
Support Harry's hard wiener, guys.
Support Harry's rigid penis.
Give us a
right
dollar.
now.
That 25 cents goes to just feeding it little kernels of corn.
As he sits here in his robin egg baby blue fucking
I'm
outfit.
full baby blue.
He is.
You can call me baby.
He's a baby. I'm gonna nurse you in about 5 minutes.
With his penis. Oh, God.
That's what I need to know. Fantastic. Well,
If you like our content, please donate $1 to our
either
Patreon.
way, appreciate all the listeners, and I appreciate Harry's mouth. So you all do good work.
I appreciate the listeners more than I appreciate Harry's mouth.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
'Cause I just degrade that shit.
Well, as we smother Harry's face into the dirt, telling him what he did wrong, let's get into some game development.
Game development.
I didn't know you gave your asshole the nickname The Dirt.
Well, that's where the brown comes from.
A lot of worms.
A lot of words. You swallow that beer, Steven. You swallow that
I
beer.
swallowed it.
Yeah, you did.
That stays in.
Yep. All of that has to stay in now.
And that stays in also stays in. So everybody knows. Yeah, we do it fucking live.
Yeah.
So, Trek To Yomi was developed by Flying Wild Hog and produced by Devolver Games.
Did you intro development?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, and then we went off the rails?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All
Yeah.
right.
And
I just want
the whole thing where it stays in, that stays in. And also you asking that question, that's also staying in.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Just wanted to clarify.
Of course. That's perfectly fine. This used the Unreal 4 engine and was released in May of 2022. Oh, this year. Staying current, motherfuckers.
That's so recent.
Director Leonard
Bernstein.
Menciari.
Leonard Bernstein!
Leonard Menciari was experimenting with black and white imagery, and Devolver facilitated the meeting between him and Flying Wild Hog to create this Edo period inspired game. The team strived to make sure that it was historically accurate to Shinto mythology and leaned on Japanese historian Aki Tebe Masunuga, I think I got that, to ensure that.
Man, historically accurate mythology is like the weirdest oxymoron ever.
Kind of.
Like, it's like, what? It's accurate to what they believed back then.
Okay, that's good. I mean, to be fair, there was a lot of like, if you're trying to get into like old mythology,
There's a lot
it's regional
of
and the rest.
traveling through the world of the dead.
So being a newer game, there's not a whole lot of like backlog of development that goes into like trying.
Jesus, man.
Burpee boy. But there's really not a whole lot of backlog when it comes to the development with being such a new game. Like, we don't really get that kind of insight. So that's pretty much all I could really find when it comes to development. Does anybody have anything else?
I don't know all the details of the story. Well, not this game, but there's the a similar story type of framework where the guy goes after his girl into like the seven rings of hell or something like. I forget what the
Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, Dante's Inferno. I feel like there's a lot of parallels.
The poem.
Yeah, there you
The
go.
epic poem. Yeah.
So I don't know which one came first historically, but.
Yeah, well, a lot of that kind of gets mixed up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of like, hey, I'm of this region, and we all kind of know this one story, and they're all like thousands of miles apart. So you build your own theory, but we're here talking about a game based off of your conspiracy theories.
What's happening?
I don't know. It's something about a flat Earth.
Interesting. So, Dante's Inferno, the Divine Comedy, was written in the 1300s, and the Edo era of Japan was the 1600s to the 1800s.
Okay.
So the Divine Comedy came first.
And then made its way around.
Interesting.
And then, interesting.
Interesting.
Ah.
Weird that a book could influence the beliefs of an entire culture.
That never happens.
It's weird.
That never happens.
It's so weird.
Clark, you quit
Burn
that.
all the books.
You quit
Burn them all. Burn all the books. Only audio books.
And podcasts like this one.
Support us on Patreon.
We are your source of information.
We are your only source of information now.
For every dollar we earn, we burn one more book.
For every $10, you get one additional fact in the episode.
You want us to be more factually correct and maybe pay us to get on a computer and fact check ourselves once in a while? You pay us an extra $10 a month.
Best pitch I've heard in years. All right. Well, with that, let's hone our skills into an upward slash and get into some story.
Story.
We follow the story of Hiroki, a young samurai in training who sees the danger presented to his village. He has trained under his master, Sanjuro, to protect their village and Sanjuro's daughter, Aiko. After a short battle with a warlord named Kajiro, Sanjuro is stricken down and Hiroki vows to protect the village. Years later, an attack comes to the village led by Kajiro, where all samurai are captured and the townspeople are decimated. Hiroki traverses the land in search of Aiko, only to be struck down by Kajiro, Hiroki is thrown into a world of darkness and demons. This is his Trek to Yomi. Hiroki encounters the enemies and friends of past, having to do battle with all to face his own demons. After slaying his way through Yomi, he has given a chance to return to the mortal realm for one last battle against Kaijiro. Only after defeating him, his path is revealed based on the player's decision. In the path of love, he returns to Yomi to be with Aiko. In the path of duty, he stays to continue defending the village. In the path of hatred, Hiroki becomes a warlord, attacking and raiding the villages himself. So yeah, I mean, it's a super deep story that's tried to be told in 5 hours. And maybe not super deep, but at least like they try to portray it as, hey, you have this full life purpose. Get it done. We have limited time.
I don't think it's a deep story at all.
Yeah,
but
what?
in
Yeah.
fact, I think, not being sarcastic, I think it's a very simple story, and I think it excels at being a simple story.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of actual like character development in this. I think it's just like they're pretty much telling you the story as opposed to you being like part of the story, even though there's like choices to make.
I would argue that there's some development with Hiroki.
Some very slight.
Yeah, not a ton, but there's some. There's definitely a change in character from the beginning.
I think
to
this
the end.
story has just as much depth as like a Disney movie. It's a very simple plot, explained point A to point B to point C, and it's a linear game. There's not a lot of exploration to be done.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, okay, yeah, a little branching path to go into a house to get ammo or get a collectible.
But no, like, side stories or anything.
Right, there is
Yeah.
nothing in the way of side stories, subplots, nothing really like that.
And I'm saying that that's fine. For
Yeah. Yeah.
like if they would have done like the deep plunge and tried to cram too much into a 5-hour game, they would have butchered it, guaranteed. And I think it's fine just being a simple linear story in the time frame that it is.
I could see where they probably wanted to go with like a little more like depth and soul in the game, but I think the, for lack of a better term, shallowness of the game is like the sweet spot for the length of the game.
Gotcha. And you feel like that plays into like the replayability of the game, so that way you don't feel like you have to be vested in trying to find like another path, really, and it's still more linear of love, honor, or vengeance, or whatever it
I
may
don't
be.
think the story has anything to do with the replayability in my aspect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm definitely not playing this again for the story.
Okay.
I would say that like the story's not the thing that excels the most in this game.
Even with the different outcomes, like you'd rather just look it up on YouTube rather than play through again.
I
So
just
for-
assumed that there's other endings and didn't need to see the other ones.
I could tell pretty much what was going to happen. It's just like knowing enough of like Japanese lore really is like, this is a tale as old as time for them.
Tale is
a Beauty and the
old as
Beast.
time.
No, like almost exactly though. Seriously, like this is a trope of a game. Like this tale of going through the underworld to follow your destiny in whatever path you want, and coming out of that either being saving someone else, or damning yourself is a very tried and true simple story that you can just put whatever kind of trappings around it that you want, and it works. On the basis of levels. I would have liked to see them deviate from that story a little bit, like try something new, because I didn't feel like there was enough new in the game.
Okay.
In the terms of the story.
Yeah.
I wouldn't replay. I probably will never replay this game again if I'm being completely honest. But I would not play it again for the story. That's definitely not why I would play it again.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, the story was like, I think the first 3 chapters or 4 chapters, basically before you get to Yomi, moved too slow and were like disinteresting.
Fair assessment.
Right. Which is why I say I wouldn't play this game again for the story, because the first half to 2/3 is not interesting.
Right. There's like 7 chapters, 3 of which are in Yomi, 4 of which you're just running around burning buildings and people are just screaming the entire time, which I'll get into in sound, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we'll get there. It's like the only reason I would actually play through this again is to actually see the different story endings. And I know there's the 3 final, and then there's like a 4th kind of like secret ending.
What's that?
Get all the collectibles
That's
or
where
something?
the first time you meet up with Kajaru, it's like in chapter 3, like before you go to Yomi, you can actually defeat him there, and then that's the end game. Like you end the story like 4.5-5 hours early. And
Can you do that naturally?
or
Or do you have to beat the game first?
No, apparently it's like if you
God damn it. I was so fucking close. I got him so goddamn close to death, and then he finally struck me down.
Yeah, no, you can actually, like, you don't have to play through to be able to finish him, like, later in the game. Like, that could be done,
I kind of remember that turning into almost like a cutscene of an unavoidable hit.
That's the second time.
Almost, but that's also before you don't really know what the fuck you're doing because you don't have that skill set. And you don't necessarily...
I had him down to a sliver of health, and then I got that cutscene.
So you don't necessarily have to go through the entire game to come back to get an understanding, but that helps build you for the next playthrough. But on your very first playthrough, you can strike him down and end the game in like 2.5 hours.
Challenge not accepted.
Okay. Fair.
Same, brother.
Other thing I wanted to say on the story, though, like the mysticism behind what Yomi actually is. Like, I know it's like an afterlife kind of thing, but it's not like a pristine heaven type setting. Like
Right.
it's just
The underworld.
It's like a purgatory almost.
Kinda. I like that they didn't explain that. I think like it takes away some of that, like behind the curtain kind of thing.
You
when
just
try
leave it
to-
ambiguous.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was smart to do what they did.
Yeah,
like there's
They
enough
explained it
symbolism.
slowly over time.
Yeah, leave it to
little
you to
bit.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they do kind of explain that it's like the underworld, but it's not necessarily like you're in hell. You're facing the spirits that you've crossed.
But that might be his personal Yomi too, because
Right.
Yeah.
they were all the souls that he took. Why would that be specialized?
Right.
Why would Yomi
Right.
be specialized? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Right,
So
yeah.
it could be a different take for every person that visits quote Yomi. Yomi.
I mean that may be more pertinent to like the Shinto like mythology to it. I did not dive that deep, so you can always correct us if we're wrong, but
They will in the iTunes reviews. I do want to talk about like everybody's different ending that they chose at some point. But the one thing I did like a lot about what Yomi kind of was, or at least his experience with Yomi. I read a comic. It was like a one of those books like years ago. It was called Midnight Nation. And it was like kind of like this weird purgatory bullshit that they had going on with that. But the further this guy got into it, the more like taken over and demonic some of these people got. And I felt like there was a representation of that. Like it was initially like souls, but then they became like more
grotesque
and
creatures
trollish and like you know what I mean? Like and
Right.
I kind of like that. The further he got in, you saw more of that kind of like decay of people's personality.
Yeah, they said there was
Yeah.
like a plague going through.
Yeah. I mean, even
Sickness.
to say that, it's like when he caught up with Aiko, and she turned into this like weird
The
looking
spider lady.
Yeah, exactly. And then even his master, they would just like make themselves like these certain apparitions, where it's just kind of like
So maybe if it was his personal Yomi and there was a plague going through, it was a representation of the doubts and inability in his mind.
I feel like that was pretty prevalent. He was never fully
Sure of himself
assured.
at
Yeah,
all.
no, there was always that doubt, which I feel like is, a standing feature in these sort of games, or at least this sort of story.
And I don't think it was self-doubt in his abilities. I think it was self-doubt in his decision-making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because he kept revisiting, like, if I only knew it was a trap. Like, it's not like he wasn't a good, like, he knew he was a pretty good fighter. It was just, he was like, oh, I regret leaving the town.
I regret getting stabbed by that guy.
Me too, bud.
Yeah.
I think like he started to realize that later on in the game too. Like the what my quip is from. Like he's like, okay, I need to like be confident in the path I'm going to take before I start executing.
Right.
Like he starts self-recognizing that. Like late in chapter 6.
He starts
a lot more
correcting-
self-reflection.
He has to correct his character pretty much to get out of Yomi,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah,
he's
that
taking
was-
those. He's taking those steps to do that.
That was like a direct lesson that he was taught.
Yeah.
Like the commitment to a decision.
Right.
kind of
Yes.
thing. Yeah. Nice.
And then you make a decision. Very shortly after that, you make your first decision of the game.
Oh, we're talking the first?
I think you make
I
You
thought
make
it
a
was
decision.
that.
You make a decision in chapter 5 and chapter 6.
I thought one was like the the prequel, kind of like, oh,
They're the same choices, pretty much.
yeah.
They're like,
well,
are you
one-
sure?
I think one defines what's going to happen, and one is like
Yeah.
this.
All right.
Here's like the practice.
Well, I
I think the
at
first
least
one's the
think,
practice.
Yeah,
the second
yeah.
one's the are you
even
sure?
though it's a little bit of gameplay, I feel like this more ties into story. Is
decision?
what path
Yeah.
or
Oh, yeah,
what
it's-
decision did you make?
All story. I was a man of duty.
Yes, I middle. I did duty as well.
You
I
did
not-
duty?
I did not try to save Aoki, and I did not go
Aiko.
after revenge. Aiko, whatever.
Gotcha.
I saved Ico.
I
You
saved
were
Ico.
love. You did
Yeah,
for
I-
love.
So none of us went revenge.
That sucks.
Revenge seemed pretty like
Bleak.
Like, yeah, you're just going to be a bad guy. We get it.
I
Yeah.
feel like so. If you chose love, did you stab your teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to kill one of them.
Did you pull her out of Yomi then?
No, we exist in Yomi together.
Yeah.
Were you allowed to go back and fight the bad guy?
Yes.
Then? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha. And
we
then-
we
and then
still got to go
afterwards,
back
you go
and
back to Yomi.
get that quote unquote revenge
Gotcha.
to be able to like honor ourselves. But
Gotcha.
when we came back, it was ourselves and Aiko, and then that was us for the rest of eternity. It's a long ass time. Long.
So what was your
revisiting
ending
your
like?
marriage or something, Steve?
I'm just waiting for you to say fucking something about like your ending.
Yeah, what was your ending like?
I don't remember the cutscene, but I know he stays on Earth.
It
after
was
that.
like the duty one just feels like it wasn't that like
I feel like he just went back,
Yeah.
killed the boss, and then
back
like
killed
there's
the
like
boss.
a
And he's like
him
it's time
standing
to
on a hill.
rebuild.
Yeah, or him standing
mean,
on a hill or something like
Ours
that.
was very similar.
Okay.
Like it was like the end of that, and then it was like almost
I
a
went back
still
to-
shot of like you and Ico. It wasn't like
I
Yeah.
slit my throat to go back to Yomi, and now I'm here.
I don't know. The revenge one could have been good. And then I did toss up like, what do I want to decide here? Because like none of them seemed clear. Like this is like a good ending choice. Like they all seemed on equal ground.
I
'Cause
didn't
he-
think the revenge. I think the revenge one was very clear that it was.
Well, no. So when I first looked at that, though, it was like the way to save both of those people. I didn't know you had to like.
Oh, in the first choice they give you, they're like, "Do you want to seek revenge?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably not good for a spirit.
Yeah.
That's probably not the best ending." They're like, "Oh, do you want to rekindle your love, or do you seek to guard the weak?" Like something like that was like the first choices.
I take
And
care
I
of
was
some
like,
weak. I do that.
It's like, yeah, you know, I'll continue leading my people.
Yeah.
You know. And then they're like, "Do you pick duty?" And I was like, "Yes."
I always pick duty.
And then I stabbed Aiko. That's what you do. You just like stab her.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
damn.
Yeah. You like you go up to her and you're like, oh, like I'll wait for you, and then you just like put your knife like through
All right.
her.
I'm gonna go stab
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
He's like he's pretty much just like, I'll love you forever.
So that's weird on mine. He used a blunderbuss. Right at her face.
Hold on.
Hold. Let me
Stuff
just
him
pack
up.
this
She's just standing there. I fucking hate you. My father was right about you.
boom. He right up to her face, like just
Hi.
nuzzles her with it a little bit.
He pretends it's his penis.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fire a load.
Is it big enough now, Aiko?
This will not be enough to protect my village. I'm going to protect your village all day.
I'm gonna protect all over your village.
Right in front of her father.
That's what you asked for, old man.
Hold! He starts loading the musket again. Hold!
Fucking A. Anything else for fucking story?
I don't have
No, I think we finished that off nicely.
Absolutely.
all about
right.
the blunderbutts, baby.
Yeah. Eyes make weird noises, don't they?
Fucking dolphins.
It's a very visual podcast.
Exactly. Well, we're going to pull ourselves up by the sandal straps and barge into this Shinto house and throw an arrow into some
Broad.
Gameplay.
Gameplay.
I took so long and just trying to figure out. It's like, where the fuck am I going to go with this? Where are we going with this?
Steve just went on his own Trek to Yomi. He died at the beginning of the sentence. Made it through it all to come back. He's like, gameplay.
Joke's on you. I've been dead inside for like
Steve
a decade.
chose gameplay.
He rejected
How'd your
all.
ending come out, Steve?
With an insurance policy. No, I need help, guys.
I can tell.
This is fun. So, gameplay. Bit of a learning curve.
Oof. Is all I have to say.
It was rough for the first hour and a half. After that, I felt like I started to get a good feel for it, and especially when some of the extra like combat combinations came into play.
Yeah, I got the swing of it, but I did not enjoy playing the game at all. I didn't enjoy the combat at all. I thought it was hot garbage.
Yes.
hot.
For me, I kind of feel the same. Like, so kind of like both of you though. Like the beginning was like not great, and then later on I started to get the hang of it. But it had nothing to do with the combinations that I learned over time, because like it wasn't like in the beginning of the game it was more button mashing, which doesn't help.
Right.
But I also hate games where it's like fucking combo shit. Like, it's the reason I hate Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, all that shit. Like, I don't care like about like square triangle back. Like that I don't like it. You know what I mean? So like my gameplay was mostly like roll dodge heavy attack. Like so much of that, and
It's super viable too.
it's super viable, and it almost to a point where it's almost cheesing it.
Yeah, I felt like I got into like a really cheesy rhythm of just like block parry, because there was always every enemy, if they ran up to you, you would take 2 steps away from them, they would charge you, and they always do a double attack, and it's like, okay, block the first one, parry the second one, heavy, they're dead, and then do that. Or when you get the spin move and then the heavy attack.
Oh, where you back up a step and then automatically lunge in?
No, there's the one where you strike behind you.
Yeah, that's how
And
I broke the game.
And then you do the heavy stab. It kills everything. Like nothing survives.
Yeah.
Nothing
Pretty much.
fucking
You stab
survives.
everything in the gut, and like
Yeah,
it just
you
can't
just
even
like
attack.
boop, boop, and if at worst case scenario it stuns them, and then you're like, okay, finish her.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just think the combat is like just bad. I don't think the combos worked really well either. I was very clearly like, I couldn't like figure out like what kind of rhythm do they want. It seemed
That's where
it
my
seemed
issue
like
was.
certain combos wanted it to be entered really fucking quickly, and it was like the heavy ones wanted really quick combos, but then the fast ones wanted you to be really slow and deliberate, and like that doesn't flow well together if you're trying to be this like samurai master where you're like taking all these like cool lunges and like, you know, slicing through fucking people. At no point did the game to me, and like I felt like I had a good grasp on the controls. It's something I really try to work on with every game that I play. I did not feel like a samurai at any point. I felt like a novice with a sword and was just like, oops, got lucky. Oops, got lucky. Okay, I figured out the technique that was just like 3 years beyond all of the other sword fighters.
Gotcha.
I just, I figured out the parry before anyone else was parried. And everyone was like, wait a minute, you can't block your sword with my sword, then stab me in the guts. Like, I just felt like, you know what I mean? Like, and that, it didn't feel reward. None of the game felt rewarding for the gameplay. Like, I never was like, that was awesome. Not a single moment of this game while playing it I was like, that was pretty fucking cool. Nothing.
I feel like that feeling comes in like after you beat the game after the first round, and then I started playing on I think it was called like the Kenshi mode, where it's basically one hit, one kill, both ways.
I would hate that. I would have fucking hated that. With how clunky this game is, no thanks.
Well, actually, that's where that's where we differ. Like, I actually appreciated the game more in that mode because
Can you explain the combos then? Because like to his point, I couldn't figure out the rhythm either. Like it was like square, triangle.
A lot of it, like when it comes down to like when you get into that,
Are the enemies one hit kill too?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's just heavy. You can probably just spam square the entire time.
You can't. Because you're running into enemies that have certain different lengths of weapons. So you have ones that have the swords, you have ones that have like the katanas, and then the pole arms, and you have to start adjusting
with a bow and arrow.
Again, not that easy because
you only save the arrows for them.
It's not quite the same setup on that game mode. And that's where I feel like then it's not just I'm going to run up and try to slash because they're going to block. I'm not just going to try to shoot an arrow. They're going to block. There's a lot more back and forth, and you have to be a lot more precise on your movements. Do I step back here? Do I block and step back here? Is it just a simple block and then come back in? I feel like the combat system is not given justice with the first playthrough, which isn't right, because I feel like if you're gonna put forth a game like this where you're just basically delivering a side scroller and you're swinging a sword, if you can just run up to somebody and tap triangle 3 times and have an enemy dead, not really much to it.
Yeah.
If you get into the same situation where you can't necessarily do that, and the enemy is actively blocking against you, that is what I really liked out of this game.
See, here's the thing for me though. I don't think you should have to play an entire game once until the game gets good. To me, that's just not a good game.
Yeah, I took the way I looked at it. My first playthrough was for story. The second playthrough was for combat / for me.
In a specific mode, though, like why not offer that mode right off the bat?
Because you're going to get the shit kicked out of you and frustrated and not play the game if you go on that second mode.
I mean, I felt that on the first mode. This game was a slog. This game took me forever to play. I didn't want to do it. I was just like, fuck, I have to play this game to get it done for the podcast.
Oh, I did it in 2 sits.
I couldn't do it. I literally was just like, I fucking hate this after like 45 minutes. Like, I would do one chapter and be like, fuck this. I don't want to play
I wouldn't even
anymore.
finish a chapter sometimes.
Yeah. I left in certain chapters too. Like,
okay.
I understand the difference between like trying to like just crunch it out. Like, when did you start playing this, Harry?
2 weeks ago.
Okay, I've had it since it launched. And I just beat it last week or 2 weeks ago.
Well, I mean, that's not really saying anything because I got it when it launched too, and I had it beat within a week and a half.
Yeah,
but that's just because it's a difference in play style and what we like. That's all.
My 2 cents on gameplay, though, before we get too far away. So I did not hit the longer combos. I am notoriously bad for combo type games, although I love Mortal Kombat. But
Damn right.
I kept it to simple combos, and how you guys found your method of breaking the game, like with the combat, I kind of found it was the flipping back and forth between turning your back, like if you do that slash behind you.
Yeah.
The amount of speed, like, so when I was just facing somebody and tried to hit different combos, like the up and down and stuff, I felt like he was slower.
Yeah.
I for some reason, I know this is weird, but I felt like when you flip to the other side to swing, he gets like an adrenaline boost, and you can kind of get some of these attacks out quicker. I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
Well, so
No, I use the same method. Like sometimes I'd back into enemies with my back turned.
Yeah, and
so
that's
at least,
and it's funny because that's the one lesson that your teacher tells you very early in the beginning of the game.
Never show your back.
Never show your back. And I was like, this is the best strategy, is showing your back.
this works for me.
early on in the game, you get that like back attack and the combo for the light attack, and then like the next chapter you get the light attack heavy attack. So literally you can just like you can spam it. You're just like, okay, I'm turning around, I'm just gonna do square or square triangle, and most of the time it'll just kill whatever it touches.
I didn't really use triangle at all,
I didn't
though.
even get that far. Like, again, that for me it was
Two buttons.
Dude, it was the time. Like, so, I mean, like, I probably did it inadvertently, but for me, like you said, the timing thing was everything. Like, it's like, okay, do I hit square triangle, or am I waiting until like the animation for my light attack is part of the way through, or almost complete before I hit the heavy attack?
It's both apparently, which is really broken.
I never got that, so I was just like, okay, like I'm going to figure out a way to do this without it, and I did. Like, and I didn't really have a problem with the combat. It was just not interesting.
I felt like the controls slipped. Like if I went out of my way and did a combo, the next one I did at the exact same speed would not work. And I felt like it was just totally out of sync, and I just did not. It was not good.
The worst part about that for me, though, is that like, so you completed an area of enemies, like a mini stage or whatever.
Okay.
You'd put your katana away, and then it'd be like, you earned this new skill. You couldn't practice it.
Yep. You had to wait until you
had to wait until you were engaged in enemies.
Engaged with another enemy.
Like,
Although
if
you
I
can
could
throw
stand
your
there-
projectiles outside of combat.
yeah, which is also really fucking annoying.
that didn't bother me as much. But if I could just stand there, like, in a platform after I've cleared and just, like, practice, that would have been fucking nice. To just be like, okay, I get it now. Okay, that's what that one does. But I couldn't. I had to do it completely engaged. And most times you're not engaged with one guy. It's like fucking six.
Yeah. Joe's been engaged to multiple guys.
Never married.
Just docked.
But yeah, like that was it was a combination of things for me. It was like, okay, the combos are rough, the timing is rough, you can't practice them. Like you're really limited in what they give you the ability to do or ability to learn how to play the game.
Well, it seems like there's been like different curves when it comes to the battle, but at least like let's say about like the landscape and the layout and running around. Like, did you find like those little secret areas where you're just like, let me try running this way? Oh shit, something's back here. It's like, did you find that enjoyable, or do you think they should have been more prevalent and like, hey, you can go here?
Okay, so I enjoyed it when there was not a screaming woman or creature within 3 screens of where I was, and it was just drowning out. It started to curb my want to do that.
Like
To
explore?
explore, yeah. Because if someone's just screaming,
curdle screaming.
and like the sound, like you could be having a sword battle with somebody, and someone is still just fucking scream. You can hear them over the fucking sword battle, and you pass that person 2 screens away. It's absurdly bad. They need to a great fix for them would be to just like adjust audio levels of the NPC characters around, because it was bad. It was fucking annoying as fuck. So I just got to the point where I was like, okay, if there's someone loud screaming, I'm not just going to hang around and explore.
Yeah.
I still found like I probably think like 15, 20 collectibles and like a ton of stuff. Like I had a ton of the fucking like techniques unlocked and things like that. It's just it was so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
So, couple of things as far as that goes. The running around I thought was cool. The changing of the side-scrolling platform to the more open world aspect was nice as far as running around. I didn't mind that too much. The collectibles thing you touched on real quick. There was one chapter where I thought the collectibles were actually interesting, and the rest of them just weren't. There was one chapter where basically the collectibles were all a statue. Like they were all different parts of a statue. I think it was chapter 5. And that to me, once I got like the third one and figured that out, made it more interesting to actually find them.
Okay.
Because they weren't just like a bowl.
Gave you
and
a goal.
a comb.
Yeah.
And like random objects. Yeah. Because it was like, oh, like this actually makes a thing. Like what does this actually look like? So that was interesting to me.
Shrine of the Silver Monkey. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Mac.
But again, some of the levels, some of them were kind of rough. Again, touching on another category, but like the little twinkle of an item being nearby, whether that was ammo or whatever, sucked because sometimes it was a fucking raindrop and it looked exactly the same. Like the rain spattering on certain things and the way lighting hit sometimes every now and then would make that like same shine thing. And I would think something was there, but then it wouldn't like, and I would run towards it, but it wouldn't blink again. I'd be like, okay, that's not an actual item. Like, let's regroup here. But that was kind of deceiving and kind of pissed me off a little bit because I thought some things were like in corners of rooms or whatever. And I'd run that way and nothing there.
You know, like the film grain.
It wasn't the film grain. It was literally like the environmental effects.
I had times where I fell for the film grain. I saw the film grain and it was just like have a little like white speck for a second, and I was like, "Oh, was that a flash?" And I'd like run over.
Maybe it was.
And like
Maybe
look,
it was a
and
combination of the two.
I was just like, "Where is this? Where is this? Where is this?" Okay, I can't find it. Like fuck.
Yeah, I just go over there and like spam.
This bitch is just screaming over here. Just die already.
I thought some shuriken.
I tripped over a branch. Fuck. Awful.
What were we talking about? Exploring?
Yeah,
sure.
Movement just in general and stuff.
I didn't hate it. I'll be honest. There was a couple times I thought it was nice when you find that, oh, I found this rope that I cut, cleared out the whole screen of enemies or something like that.
Oh, yeah. The environmental traps are cool.
Yeah, those were kind of cool.
There weren't many of those though.
There weren't many, and they
There
were
was like
there
a
were
bridge.
some.
It was like an explosive barrel.
There were a good amount, but you wouldn't know until it was too late.
They kind of took longer than like actual things though. like the one where you blow up the dam and then it's just like the building starts falling, but it's like really slowly creaking, and then like the water's like a little stream.
You have to
like
wait
it's
for
a fucking
like,
anime.
Yeah.
You're waiting for every enemy to notice. Like, oh, what the fuck is that water? Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, come on.
That adds to the suspension.
I think I only found like 2 of those, and both of them I cleared out all the enemies before I fucking
I did that
it.
to one. I was just like,
ugh.
oh, I'm just destroying this town I live in.
It was
I guess,
like
then.
it was like
For no reason.
in my head it was like, oh, that looks like the way to go. Let me just clear this out before I go that way.
Right.
What's this off-white thing?
Yeah, and then it's like I feel like I only got like 5 of those, and but it was like, oh, cool. I killed everybody here. Let me go check this other path. And then it's like, this drops logs. I'm like, oh, that would have killed everybody that I just killed.
Yeah.
Go XP.
Do you know what would have been nice to see in this game? Somebody else in your village putting up some sort of a fight.
Oh my god!
No, it's like, we depended upon you. You let us down. It's like, what were you
it's a
doing?
one man who must defend an entire village.
Yeah.
Do you realize I've been training for this since I was 7? What the fuck are you doing?
Picking gripes.
Why couldn't you take out that army of 300 men that just came to our village? God damn it!
Bunch of bullshit.
But like, so I liked the boss fights. I actually didn't have any issues with the boss
No,
fights.
I didn't either.
I thought they were a lot of fun. They were varied enough.
Yeah.
We can get back to the bosses in a second, though. I really liked. There's one section of the gameplay that I actually stood out to me as like actually kind of fun, was when you're running from the guys with the flaming arrows, and you have to like run, engage somebody while you're fighting behind a wagon.
Yeah.
And it's like you only have X amount of time to like kill this person, and then you need to move.
Because the walls that you're guarding are burning down.
It's like burning down and stuff. That was really cool. Didn't like it as much when it was in Yomi, and like they're just like, okay, as soon as this symbol fills up with light, it's gone. Like I'm just like, okay, that's I guess okay, but
the bridge where you'd fall off the cliff. I think that's one of the few areas I died consistently.
Oh wow, I didn't have anywhere where I died consistently.
I got hit with flame arrows twice until I realized what was happening. I was like, what the fuck? Like, because right when you first encounter with like the flaming arrows and like that run across the field behind all like the wagons and the trees and stuff, there's a torch in the foreground. And I was fighting people and standing right behind the torch, but the wagon is like an inch off to the screen, so I kept getting hit, and I was like, what the fuck? Are the ashes from the goddamn torch killing me? What the hell's happening? And then I was like, oh, there's like ashes coming from those archers in the background. Okay, I get what's happening now. Okay, yeah, I get it.
I got it.
And then I had fun with it. But yeah, that's like the only times I had fun with this game was the boss fights.
Yeah, the boss fights were pretty decent though.
Yeah.
The boss fights to me were hilarious because that was when I realized like the first one that actually had like, a health bar and shit, an actual boss fight.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, now I know why light attacks suck.
They do no damage.
Because they were like, here's 5% damage, and then you do a heavy attack and it'd be like 20%. You're like,
yeah.
Oh, if that translates to regular enemies, that makes sense.
Oh, see, I was all light attack. I didn't use heavy attack really at all.
Heavy attack,
same.
you could kill bosses in like 4 or 5 hits.
You could.
I like the speed though.
You know the one boss that brings out the 2 spirits that you have to fight mid battle.
Yeah,
Get him down to half, and then he does that.
Yeah,
yeah.
He would run at me. I had to play that boss fight a few times because I just kept getting absolutely ransacked by the 2 spirits. But like he would run at. I had it down to a science. He would run out. I would parry his first strike, and then heavy. I would take a step back. He'd swing, and then I'd light stab into the fight with the 2 guys. I literally did it 5 times in a row.
Yeah, there's
there's
a lot of those
whatsoever
that kind of come up with that, and I feel like also
it was like a rhythm game at that point.
That kind of, and a lot of them were, but I do feel like there's kind of a choose your own adventure when it comes to some of those fights, because I know Joe, you were saying you basically were like heavy all the way. Some of the light, like if you go like light, heavy, or light, heavy, back away. Like I feel like there were like different ways to approach certain battles when it came to it. I mean, some, like you were saying, Clark, where it's just like, I'm going to heavy strike right off the bat, and then he's going to come in with this.
Oh no,
and I'm going to back up and come back in.
I parried right off the bat, and then double heavied, and then just light stab, and then that was half his health.
You need to find like
and then
certain.
As soon as I took care of the spirits, I would just do it again, and he was dead.
Yeah, certain rhythms for certain bosses, and you had to kind of like fluctuate it
that
around
worked on everyone that didn't have a pole arm. That combo worked for literally anyone that didn't have a pole arm.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of like room for interpretation of how you actually wanted to approach the battle, but there is a very straight and direct way to, it's like, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get it done as soon as possible, and I don't want to lose any more health than I need to.
I'm going to just fuck you up, fam.
So...
Fuck you up, fam.
Oh, that's nice. You got a pole arm? I have a bow and arrow. Dead.
So speaking of approaching boss fights, what I thought was kind of frustrating, and I did it unintentionally a few times, was that as you were running, like across like the regular terrain, if you ran into an arena with a boss, your character would run like to the middle of the boss arena, right at the boss basically most of the time. And then usually you wouldn't be able to block or whatever. Like the boss would have the upper hand on the first shot almost every time. But if you just walked without sprinting into the stage, your character would start on the edge of the screen. Like I
didn't notice that.
Even if you sprint and then you let go of the buttons as the screen transitions to the battle, your character continues running.
Did you play on PS5?
Yeah.
Okay.
polearm bosses, I would specifically walk into the battle so that I could get an arrow or two off before they engaged with me.
Yeah.
But like the guys that I was like going into parry immediately, I would step into the middle and just like start parrying, like just bring that sword up. Like
No, I feel like that's pretty much where like all of the gameplay lies is in battle. I mean, there's not a whole lot of like exploration that's apparent. It's like, oh,
It's tough to have exploration with such a linear game. Like,
Yeah.
even
I
the
mean, that's
exploration
true.
that's there is like a single room.
Yeah.
It's
It's
one
like,
screen
oh,
away.
I ran to the right instead of going down this ladder.
I mean,
Oh,
basically,
found
this is a platformer with swords. You know that you don't have to do skill jumps.
I mean, you would only get like health or stamina bonuses basically if you found like a nice little like side room.
Almost
or
consider
whatnot.
it just to beat him up.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like we
We
That's French, not Japanese.
we backslashed our way through some enemies, so let's get into some graphics.
Graphics.
The entire game is in black and white, which is a statement in itself, but I feel like they really did well with like the texture and the depth to each like little rounds.
And it also has film grain. It's very stylized.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't like the whole gameplay, not the whole game, but like most of it plays 2D, but it doesn't feel like a 2D environment, which is nice. Like
It feels
they did
more-
a really good job with it.
it feels more 2D when you get into the combat. Like
Yes.
that like I can feel this transition between like a somewhat 3D and then a real hard 2D. Like it's like a
So like I don't know though, because like there were some rooms where you could like you would enter a building and then you could run 3-dimensionally around it, right? But at the same time, there were some areas where it was a very similar looking building that you were stuck on the 2D plane doing battle, and it looked exactly the same. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
it looked like, you know, if I wasn't engaged in enemies, it looks like I could run to the other side of the room, or the far side of the room, if you will.
Yeah, the foreground, background.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
But you're stuck on a linear forward, backward.
Right.
plane.
You're stuck on the one plane.
Yeah, which is where I feel like I have some reservations about this game when it comes to more so like the camera angles, where it's so far back. It's a struggle to see.
Yeah.
Just even your character in itself and what he's doing, or even like the subtitles.
Sometimes they went too cinematic.
The subtitles were rough to read.
Yeah, and sometimes they were putting subtitles in front of a very bright foreground, and you're like, okay, cool. So I missed the first 3 words because I was dealing with the fire
Right.
that you're putting this over.
Yeah.
And there's no good shadow on the
text.
the text
Yeah,
enough
they-
to make it out. You know,
There
quickly.
there was no text backing, which I was very disappointed.
There was no text backing, and there was no way that it would just like say something and then you press X to go through to the next line. So they
Right.
weren't giving you time to read it. I didn't play it in dub. I actually played it in, Japanese with English subtitles.
Same.
Yeah.
So that's the only way that I got my information.
Yeah.
And it was just like quick scroll off the screen gone. I was like, oh fuck, I just missed something.
Yeah.
It wasn't so bad in Yomi because most of the atmosphere was very dark and drab. But like the beginning
eat
part of
your
the game where you're
soul.
running around
Yeah.
a really bright
In the
town,
town.
on fire
Yeah.
Yes.
was rough.
You could not read like at least 1/3.
Yeah. Almost every time there was a dialogue prompt, whether it was like, so if it was like 3 or 4 or 5 dialogue sentences, you'd almost guarantee that there was something somewhere that you just was going to be totally illegible.
Right.
Yep.
So I am not a fan of subtitles in games. Typically, if they are on usually by default, I turn them off. I did switch to the English dub, and I did leave the subtitles on for this because I felt like it was kind of like if that's how they wanted it. Like I was like, okay, we'll just
Meet
leave
you
it
in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did find that the English translation did not match up 100% with the subtitles. There was
that's
actually
funny.
quite a few lines that were like word for word completely different.
That happens a lot when it comes to grammar. enunciations. Like sentence structure is different in, like, for example, like I'm watching Dark right now, and it's a German show, and we're watching with the English dub and English subtitles because my girlfriend prefers to watch stuff with subtitles.
Right.
And I prefer just dialogue. I don't need subtitles. But I find myself reading the subtitles, and they are vastly different.
Yeah.
But they're still saying the same thing. It's just the sentence structure. Like, they'll say something in the dub before it's said in a direct translation, like word for word from the script. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest reasoning for not typically liking subtitles, because I know there's a lot of people that, like, especially when it comes to anime, they love their subtitles on, but specifically with anime, it's such an art style, like the way that they create that art. When you're reading the subtitles, you're missing a lot of that.
Yeah,
And that
I
always-
felt that a lot.
Yeah.
and that drives me nuts. And especially with a game, I need to be more engaged with the visual part. Playing a game, it's really distracting.
I watch anime dubbed. I do not watch.
Oh, okay. I mean, there's a lot of
watch
purists
subs.
out
I know-
there
yeah.
that give me a lot of shit, like, over the years that I've said, like,
That's great for them, but I like to look at what I'm viewing.
okay. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're on that same
Yeah.
page then, because I feel like we're a minority too. I'll be completely honest.
Yeah, well, for
Probably.
the anime nerds, like there's people out there that like are just like fine with it, but like the weebs that like must have it a certain
that's-
goddamn way.
That's
Like,
just too
Out there
much.
storming Area 51.
I mean, it's
yeah,
pretty
like-
much just like do whatever makes you feel comfortable. Listen or watch whatever makes you feel comfortable. I am one of those people who I prefer subtitles. I watch everything with subtitles because I don't want to feel like I'm missing something, and I feel like the subtitles
Yeah.
are more true to the dialogue than what a dub is, only because of those like grammatical differences or something else maybe.
my girlfriend's the same exact
Yeah,
way.
I
She's
mean,
like,
I
"Oh,
mean,
you can, like, yeah,
I
you
mean,
can
when it
read
comes down
instead of-"
to each their own. When playing this game with like only subtitles, maybe I miss some things.
Oh,
Like
I definitely miss
what's
some stuff.
going on screen. You know, I do my best to try to quick read dialogue and then look up to see what action is happening, and it doesn't necessarily sync up. So I do feel like I miss more of like the story of
the visual storytelling.
Yeah.
But the good thing is there wasn't a lot of visual storytelling in this that you couldn't get from the dub
Right.
or the subtitles. The problem was the fucking subtitles and how they displayed
Yes,
them.
and that's where my biggest complaint comes in with this game.
Also, I will say that like graphically behind the filters and stuff like that, this game isn't like incredible.
No, it's not. It's not.
The boss sequences, like the bosses looked kind of interesting when they give them like their full like reveal. But man, other than those like couple of sequences, like people are kind of blocky, mouths aren't moving when people are talking sometimes, and like I like the style of the game. I think the execution on the actual graphics in the style were not great.
Okay.
I mean, like I have to make the direct comparison to Ghost of Tsushima, and like Ghost of Tsushima is like a fucking masterpiece, and you can play the whole game in black and white and do the Bushido thing. Like it's fucking awesome.
I don't think you can compare those two games at all.
Just
because of the developers.
But it's two samurai games. It's two like there's
Nothing to do with mouth movement.
There's still 100 people that worked on Trek to Yomi.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think you can make that comparison. The budget's not the same. Like
The budget was not the same, but
I think that's a fair point, Joe.
There's still
like
Sony still put this out.
Like to me, you'd have a better chance of comparing it to like not exactly, but like Road 96 or like something along that same
Like indie vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not a mainstream artist.
Right.
Or
It's not.
developer.
And
Like, you
that's
can't
why
be
you
like,
could buy it for $20
Red Dead Redemption
instead
2
of
looks
$75.
so much better, and it's like, of course it does.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yes, but I still like even the samurai vibes are bigger and better and more true. I feel like in a game like Ghost of Tsushima, I feel like they didn't lean into anything graphically enough that they could have went super detailed with anything. I don't think they like that's what I'm trying to say. Like Ghost of Tsushima, like down to the detail, just oozes that samurai style, and this is just like not. Okay, so he's a samurai, and he's never been adorned with anything. He never donned armor. He's more of a ronin than a samurai, but he references himself as a samurai, and there's details here that don't add up.
Well, it's a completely different gameplay when it comes down to it, because
I
you're
think he's
not.
more
I'm not
looking at
talking about the
historically.
gameplay. I'm talking
Well,
about
I
what
mean-
the difference is between a ronin and a samurai. Samurai did not dress up in full robes. They wore armor, especially
Yeah, but I don't
during
think
war
this
times.
town had that kind of money to purchase even armor. Like, I mean,
No.
just saying, like, he could have claimed he's a samurai, but there is no money coming out of this town. Like, he just had to do with what he had. I don't know.
It's
I
like,
feel
I'm
like
lucky to have a sword.
kind of in a way. Like,
Yeah.
I see that it was a very impoverished town. They look like they were just barely making it.
They are.
I'm just saying in general, it didn't seem like there was like enough detail in there. It almost seems like if he's from an impoverished town, he should have been a ronin and not an actual samurai. Because there's the way of the samurai, but the ronin and samurai both adorn that. Samurai are armored warriors. Ronin are the ones in the robes with swords and the giant straw hats. That's not a samurai thing. The giant straw hat, that's a ronin thing. Yeah, I'm just saying. It just I feel like they should have leaned into one thing or the other.
I did want to spit out two highlights that I thought visually, and quick side tangent. I'm just going to skim over it real quick. I've had the Area 51 storming stuck in my head since you mentioned it, and I'm thinking that was like the precursor to everything that's happened since.
It all goes back to Area 51.
Yeah, I don't know. I got that thought stuck in my head.
It all comes down to that one kid that actually jumped the fence.
Yeah,
He just got
they're like, all right, cool. Well, then we're going to do this.
All right,
They just hit a
Naruto.
button.
Here's
Good
COVID.
for
He
you,
ran
bud.
past a rock that had a sprayer in it. It's like
Yeah, and then like I don't
COVID
know.
unleashed on the world. By Naruto.
Anyway, two things I did like visually, and I think they should have leaned into the one a little bit more. So the traditional Japanese, the I don't know what the hell they call it. They're like paper walls that they have where you do the fighting behind that, and you just see like the
silhouette.
The silhouette.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it would have been cool if they did an entire hallway nonstop, because a lot of it was like broken up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you could be like in and out of it. But if they just did one solid hallway where it was just nothing but a silhouette fight,
Yeah.
I thought that would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That, and I did like the visuals on chapter 6, where you're revisiting a lot of these places, but everything's like shaking. That you're like on a cliff.
It's all shifty.
Kind of collapse at any
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I did like that. I like that whole vibe at that point. I think that was my favorite chapter in the entire game. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the visuals.
Nice.
Nothing that hasn't already been said, except for, like I said,
Exactly. You guys said the rest. so.
subtitles are ridiculous.
Yeah.
The reading thing, I can pass usually on cutscenes with dialogue, right? Because it's like I'm not actively trying to do something. But there were a few moments where it was like I need to do something on screen, like character movement wise, and also try and read dialogue.
Yeah.
And that was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, don't make me do that. Not unless like it's default in my natural language or something like that. Because there were some times where I just like, okay, I need to stop progressing, wait till this dialogue is done, and then I can continue.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't like that.
It takes even longer reading at a third grade level.
We are going to face our Shinji demons and get into some audio.
Audio.
Nailed it. A lot of the music was really cool. I appreciate that.
But sadly drowned out by some of the terrible
And
sound effects.
Don't even
the
remember
the overall thing that I remember from everything is the horrible screams and sounds of pain that came through in 75% of this game.
Yeah, you don't remember the music because it was all drowned out by screams or some guy going, "Oh,
It was bad. Like
Yeah.
I usually try to be respectful of like my noise level when I play these games. And the first night I started playing this, I had it up a little loud because it's kind of hard to hear everything that's going on. It just comes up with
Yeah, like I was playing at like a moderate level of sound, and it's like fighting. I'm like, oh, okay, like swords. The sword clangs together is fine. The music's fine, and then I'd like go to another cutscene. Someone would be like, oh god! It's like, oh god! Like now I have to turn this down. Now I can't hear shit, and I
Yeah.
can still hear them going.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I know.
But still, like, it was bad. It was really bad. It's overpowering, and it, like, ruined a lot of really good moments in the game.
It did.
Quite honestly, like, I feel like it ruined a lot of the game. It made it, I was just like, oh my god, I have to go back to that. Like, I have to boot up this game, and I'm immediately going to be greeted by people just being like,
I'm dying.
my leg! Like, fuck.
Vlad, come get me. I'm dying.
I know it was there at a couple points. I don't think it bothered me like it did you guys, though.
God,
It's one of those. It's one of those things. It's just like it's like
You grabbed onto it and couldn't unhear
yeah, and
it.
I couldn't unhear it the first time, and I was like, "Fuck!" And then I heard it every single time because they used the same sound clip. Apparently, 50 different villagers all sounded exactly the same when they were in pain. Maybe it was the same bandit. They all cut them the same exact way. But like, Jesus Christ, die already, all of them, please. I'll see you in Yomi when you're just a yelling ghost.
And then I'll cut you down there too.
Yeah, and then you'll just disappear.
The English dub wasn't amazing. I'll be honest.
I was gonna ask,
All right.
like, how.
I mean, I can't compare because I don't understand Japanese language, so it's really
Instead
hard
of-
to kind of.
You can understand the tone of like
I didn't last very long on that though. I was like, I switched pretty early
They
To what?
to English dubs.
no, that's what I'm saying. You can still judge the English dubs because like you still like have the tone and delivery and all of that. Like, how was it?
Oh no, yeah, no, I was going to judge that. I was just saying I can't judge the.
You can't compare them.
Yeah, I can't really compare because I didn't listen to the Japanese very long. But no, the acting was like a C-list type of like voice actor. Like they got through it, but they might have overemphasized certain areas, or maybe
Okay.
you know what I mean. Like they didn't put that correct level of intensity in
the
certain...
right tone or like emphasis on like.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a little off. It was just a little.
I
off.
felt like it was just three different guys. I felt like it was just three different voices the entire.
Well, I looked at the voice actors, so like it is legit. There's like every character did have their own. Voice actor.
I felt like the tone never changed. I felt like they all had like, you know how like your voice naturally registers in like, C# or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like they all registered in the exact same tone.
No,
and I felt like it melted together sometimes. And with the subtitles scrolling so fucking quickly, I didn't know who was speaking because I couldn't get the context.
Subtitles didn't tell you who was speaking anyway.
I know, but I couldn't catch the context. I couldn't be like, okay, he's speaking in the subtitle. Oh, but wait, okay, wait, who's talking now? Because both mouths have stopped moving. Like, it was just like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like they just got so, like, it just convoluted the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I
need your help.
understand,
I
like-
need your help moving my cart.
You are in distress. Let me help you. And then you move to like a different plateau or whatever it may be. I was like, okay, so it sounds all the same. The screams of disparity.
Well, not even that. I felt like the characters, like some of the characters that you would talk to, I felt like they were voice acted by the same person. Not necessarily the different like characters, like the named characters, but like the NPCs. It seemed like it was all the same person. It was like, oh, I need help moving my cart. I think my daughter's gone.
I don't think it was that bad.
Can you help me look for my daughter? And it just seemed like none of it had any sense of urgency to it. Unless it was the main character. He's the only one that spoke with any sense of urgency where it seemed like he was like rushing what he was saying. Everyone else always spoke just like,
labored.
Very.
Not even
very
labored. They
laid
just like
back.
spoke like just like yeah.
Laid
I'm
back.
sitting here in a booth reading lines. I'm not on a battlefield somewhere. Like
Well, none of them really joined the battlefield.
I understand
Let's
that,
be real.
but some people can put you there.
Yeah.
Like think about some of like the great like like performances in like Uncharted where you.
Oh no! I'm not
all
talking
right,
about
wait.
that direction. I was talking about their capability as a defensive unit. Like, it still bothers me that they had walls and didn't do shit.
Oh, it's a poor town, you said.
Yeah.
Well,
They ain't doing shit anyway. They're bandit fodder.
They could afford one sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they
It's
gave
true.
it to the samurai, and the samurai chose the sword over all of the armor.
the sword.
The sword.
Yes. So on that note, let's get our sword and swing our way into
Swing, please.
Yeah.
Please say swing.
Schwang.
Before Joe shorts his pants.
Shorted.
Shorts his pants.
Well, I just shorted my pants, and we're
got
getting
shorts
into final thoughts.
Before he schwitzes his pants.
Final thoughts.
So, short my pants. Joe.
This game was interesting. As I said, it was kind of a slog to get through. Visually, it was appealing, but there were, like I said, the dialogue, like not the dialogue, but the subtitles, like forced me away, and I kind of wish I did play it in dubs, but that was an option I didn't choose. I probably should have, but overall, I don't know. There was a lot of moments of this game where it just kind of fell short for me.
All right. Harry.
I didn't hate this game. I'll be honest. I mean, I didn't love it, but I didn't
Yeah,
hate it at the
okay.
same time. It was, man, I don't know how to describe it any more than that. It was just, it was a game. It was a game, and I didn't loathe my time, but I wasn't like jumping for joy that I had to play it too. So,
All right.
boom.
Clark.
This is a game that I was actually decently excited for, and then when I realized that the game wasn't going to change drastically after about an hour and a half in, I dreaded playing the rest of it every single hour, every time that I sat down to play it.
All right. I wanted to put this on my docket for the podcast. I truly did appreciate what was given to us. I do feel like there's a little bit more left to be delivered, but we'll just kind of see how that goes. Let's gather ourselves, get a good mindset. The score.
The score.
All right. Harry, your score.
Man, I've had a lot of these recently. I'm gonna go with a 4.5. This is gonna tie with Celeste. Man, my whole list is 5s and 4.5s recently. Man, I need something to like get me hyped again.
Oh, Joe.
This is a tough one to grade for me. Like I said, there's a lot of aspects that I wanted to like about this game, but it fell short. So I think I have to give it. I'm gonna give it like a 53.
Mr. Clark.
I think this game is a buy on a deep discount if you're really into samurai games.
I mean, sale.
Yeah, it's a $5 game in my opinion.
Whoa, he's changing his grading
My
system.
God, it's going to the Hamill system
Yeah.
from season 1.
No, I talk about prices.
I'm gonna give it $4.78.
Either way, you got an honest opinion. Myself, I would probably give this a B+. I enjoyed the game. Whatever. You heard my case. Either way, you can join us in 2 weeks for our release of Mobbers PlayStation 3.
Alrighty.
Prepare yourselves.
All right.
But until then, everybody, I love you.
Stay safe.
Stay sexy.
stay lovely.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on social media and all streaming platforms at Superfun Podcast for more episodes. If you enjoyed the show, tell a friend about us and consider becoming a Patreon member for more exclusive content.